Hi, everybody. This is Ken Varga. Welcome to this fabulous webinar that I'm going to be going over with you for you. But I mean, it's just going to be just phenomenal. Where we're going to learn a heck of a lot of stuff that I'm going to show you today, anyway. And what I want to do is to really uh, give you a few items to think about. Uh, I want you to hold all your questions till the end, and we'll be able to answer all the questions. As we go along, though, as you think of a question, just write it in the question box, and this way we'll have it. But also have a pen and pad handy so that you'll be able to take many notes. Also, by the way, on Tuesday, you're going to be getting a link for the recording of this webinar, so you don't have to scribble stuff or try to write stuff immediately, where you can go to the recording in your leisure and pause it and write whatever you need to write there. Now, there's three things I'm going to be going over on this webinar. The key thing, number one, is the new changes on LinkedIn and how to handle your LinkedIn connection requests to make a sale. The second thing is I'm going to be showing you my new training program that many of you have asked me to put together. And the third thing is I've asked VA Talent to come into the program also to make you an offer, because your job should be out there to make sales, not to do the mundane jobs like I'm showing you in these webinars. You should hire a virtual assistant at a very low cost to do these mundane functions for you. Like I did my return on investment for last month with virtual talent, and I'll mention it later, I guess, where I had a 327% return on my investment. But over the months and years, many of you have asked me to develop a training program and to help you double your business in 1 year. And that's what I've been able to accomplish also. So let's get started. So this webinar, the first part, is how to handle your LinkedIn connection request to make a sale. This is a little bio of John Davern, who's going to come on later from Virtual Assistant, and a little bio about me for those of you who don't know me. Again, when you get the link and you want to read this here, you can just pause it and read it. Anyway, I'm going to go over how to increase sales from your LinkedIn connections. Now, over the past year, all of you have seen several new features in LinkedIn evolving in exciting ways, but also in confusing ways. The updates that they are designed to help people find a job, attract business clients and customers, build personal brand, or just network. Today, I'm going to teach you how to work around the new LinkedIn design and handle your LinkedIn connections to make a sale. By the way, I always have this screen, a PowerPoint in here, because LinkedIn is 277% more effective for lead generation than Facebook and Twitter. That's a phenomenal statistic. So this is why I just firmly believe in LinkedIn. A couple of months ago, I did a webinar showing you how to get connection requests and request them. If you wish to see it, here's a direct link. Now you could take a moment just to write it down now, or you could wait for the copy of the webinar to come back to you, and you can write it down in your leisure. But what I'm going to go over are the new ways that you can utilize to increase your conversions from your LinkedIn connections. I'll show you how to work your way around the recent LinkedIn changes. The idea is to make your experience on the site more powerful and user-friendly. So I'm just going to hold off for about 10 seconds for you to write down this link if you want to write it down. Okay, there's 4 steps that I'm going to go over with you. All right, number 1 is where to find people who connected with you. These are individuals who you've sent the connection request to, and I'm going to go over how to handle that request in the new platform that LinkedIn has just created. Number 2 is where to find people who sent requests to you. With the new changes, a lot of individuals are confused about where individuals have requested you to join their network. And number 3 is how to follow up with people who accepted your request. In other words, number 3 is a combination of the first two. So you could do number 3 in succession. You could do the connection requests and also the request for a connection simultaneously. And then I'm going to go over the importance of creating your own database for email marketing. Number 1, find people who connected with you. Again, number 1 is go to your homepage and click on My Network. Then you go on to See All. Then you're going to click on Recently Added. Then you right-click on a connections profile picture, the name, and open it. Now, this is important because the whole reason for this process of getting someone to accept your connection request when they do accept it is to gather their critical data, their contact info. So now you're going to click on contact info, and now you've got their email address, their phone number if they have it in there, their website if they have it in there. That's all important, but you list down their contact information. And you want to do this in a Excel format or a MailChimp or whatever database software that you might have. And the important reason for doing this is I'm going to show you later in Module 1 of my training program how I show you how to build step by step the relationship with your prospects in communicating with them and getting them to respond to you, so that now once they open the door, and again in the module it says on every one of your emails you should always say, let me know what you think of this, so that they will open the door for you. Next we're going to send them the connection thank you message. So you click on message, and now you could see when you originally sent them off the connection message, this is what it looks like. Please take a look at my profile, etc. So now in the message box, you're going to type the thank you message, thanking them for connecting with you. Or if a lot of you have listened to me in the past, you just copy the message and paste it. And here's my copy of my thank you message. And I'll take a moment for you to look at it. If you'd like a copy of it, email me after the webinar at kenpbg@aol.com, and I'll send you off a copy of it. Or you could wait till you get the link and you could write it down. But again, in this thank you message, I'm giving them various ways for them to communicate with me so that I could collect their data. I ask them to join my LinkedIn group. All right, build your downline fast marketing ideas group. And then I asked them if they want to download the 121 tips book. And then I put my websites on the bottom left. But the key thing down here is helping network marketers increase customer acquisition by up to 32.7% in as little as 3.6 months and increase customer retention by up to 90%. Think of what you could write there. Let's just say, for example, that you have a weight loss program. You can put in there helping individuals lose up to 12 pounds in the first 3 months. Or think of what you could write in there for your other products. After typing in a thank you message, you then hit the send the message. Now, number 2, finding people who have sent requests to you to join, for you to join them. Click on My Network, click on Show More, click on Manage All. After you accept their connection, you're going to go into Accept or Ignore. Now you click on Contact Info, and again, it's the whole purpose is to gather their data so that you could create a relationship with them and build with them. So now you click on the message, request a join message, and you copy and paste it. Here's mine. Again, send me an email if you want a copy of it. Anyway, then you're going to either accept or ignore. You're going to go to the next one, and then the next one. All right. Now follow up with people who have connected with you. This is a way to follow up just in one step to do the connection ones and also those that requested to be connected with you. All right. You go back to my network. You click the number of connections on the left-hand side. Now it lists all the individuals who have either sent you a request to connect and or have accepted your connection request. The key thing here is to always type in, keep on a separate sheet of scrap paper or what have you, the last one that you did. In this situation, it should be Alana. So that as you go down the list, once you come to Alana, you know you've sent off a message already to Alana, so that's where you stop. So you got to either send them the thank you message if you've asked them to connect, or the request to join message if they initiated, they accept connection. Then you click on the message to the person. You can tell who initiated the connection, by the message there. So in this situation, it says your message, the request asking them to connect with you. Again, work your way down the list of connections and send them the appropriate message. You always want to, again, keep track of where you've left off by using a spreadsheet or even a scrap of paper, noting the name of the last person that you sent the messages to so that you know where you left off the next time you send them. Now, I put together a generic follow-up message, and again, if you like a copy of the thank you messages, send me an email at kenpbg@aol.com. Now, the last part of this here is creating your own database for email marketing. Again, this is critical. The whole purpose of everything we're doing is to get the data information of these individuals, and over the coming months, communicating with them either once or twice a month with data and information that will help them, with content that will help them, so that what they will do then is to send you off an email back, sending a request, telling you and thanking you for this information. And once they've done that, they have opened the door for you to step in and help them out. So what you do is you right click again, as I showed you the past three things, on their name, and that's how you get their contact information. And you list down, a lot of them don't have phone numbers, a lot of them don't have their web addresses. But this is the way your format should look like. All right, now the second part that individuals have asked me to go over is the new training program that I've created, which is Building Your Downline Fast training program. Many of you have, the reason I put it together was because many of you are struggling to take your network marketing business to the next level. In this program, I'll help you double your business within 12 months. And a lot of you have told me you feel like you're working harder and harder and harder. You're worried about the increased competition from other network marketers, and you're worried about competition and what have you. So this is going to solve your problems. I'm going to help you double your income within the next 12 months, retire and live the lifestyle of your dreams, and become part of the top 1% of all network marketers within the next 5 years. And you're going to be about to discover how you could use my secrets to end your worries and frustrations and to build your $1 million business and career quicker and easier than your greatest expectations. This is what the Build Your Downline Fast training program is all about. There's 42 modules. They're in PDF ebook format that you'll download. And I've also converted each module into an MP3 audio download available so that you could now listen to this in your leisure. You could download it to your iTunes or whatever you have that you could listen to on your computer and listen to it in your leisure as you're working out, laying on a beach, etc. But I also included in here 40 hours of pre-recorded coaching calls that I've done on key topics pertinent to building your network marketing business that I did on my coaching with my coaching program participants. So that's critical stuff. But here's this step-by-step modules in the 42 training modules. I'm going to go over creating a business plan to guarantee you long-term success. The amazing secret for getting referrals from customers and people you meet every day. By the way, those modules are renowned. Individuals in the industry have told me that alone is worth a fortune. But you want to I show you how to position yourself as the expert in your field, how to put your network marketing business on autopilot so you can make money while lying on the beach, turning your existing customers into advocates who will bring in new business for you, learning who the 20% is that generate 80% of your income, and how to make your customers bond with you so they will never go to your competition. So that's what some of the modules entail. Anyway, the pre-recorded coaching calls show the power of autoresponders and the magic of email. What I recommend to do for generating leads and getting referrals, how to work with virtual assistants to build your database, the fascinating tricks to profit from LinkedIn and meetup groups. Meetup to me is one of the most critical things that you should be involved in. Making an elevator speech that will get you appointments. How to create the ideal prospects and follow up with them every single month. The 7 points of contact and what to do when you get a no. How to work your way around certain LinkedIn changes. Using the ADA formula as the best way to promote your website. So those are the little synopsis of the coaching calls. Now here's a sneak peek inside the training platform. They're separated into 13 sections, with each section having a general theme and multiple modules within each section. As an example, section 1 is all about list building and how to make your database work for you. So you've got 2 modules that are there. And again, this is what it looks like when you click on module 1. It says you download, click on download. It'll download the PDF for you, and you could download the recording also. The coaching calls on after section 13, you just click on it and you'll see the archive of all the pre-recorded coaching calls, again, over 40 hours worth on topics that have come up and questions and answers on how you can build your business fast and create more customers. You know, and number 1, bringing customers up the loyalty ladder. Once you create a customer, I want to give you the methods, systems, and concepts that will create you that customer for life. In this call, I discuss how to create a customer initially and communicate with them. Anyway, I could go over all of them, or you could go online and you'll be able to see how much there is. Like the second one is how much money should I spend to get a client? There's 3 ways, etc. Now, over the years, you've heard me over and over and over. Take a moment and read this testimonial, because I've told you over and over and over that all of you should have your customers give you testimonials when they have experienced a positive result from your product and they've told you that. All you have to do is to say, would you please send me that in a letter form? And then when you get it in a letter format, you ask them, for permission to use it. And that is worth $1 billion. Trust me on this. Many of you have read or listened to Brian Tracy and what have you. And this is what Brian Tracy has said about me. So take a moment and just read it, and we'll go to the next one. I have 3 testimonials that I consistently use. This one again is from Brian Tracy. Okay, the next one here is from Mark Victor Hansen. All of you have heard of Mark. He wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. But he says I've met many speakers who have acquired their expertise by studying other experts in their fields, but I've met only a few who actually have spent a lifetime and millions of dollars to test every idea, concept, and strategy they shared with their audiences. Ken Varga is one of those rare individuals. Not only has he acquired a vast ocean of knowledge and experience by being involved in 32 different successful businesses, he has the ability to convey his cutting-edge ideas and strategies to his audiences in an easy to understand manner. Anyway, that's from Mark Victor Hansen, and this is from Dan Kennedy, another dear friend of mine. I just want to mention in his third paragraph, he says that the IRS has a person in Washington to try to figure out how to get more taxes out of me. Dan is just being facetious there. They don't, but he's just being facetious. So anyway, just take a look there. Okay, but your investment on the network marketing Business Fast training program is only $497. You get full access to the 42 training modules, 40 hours of coaching calls, audio recordings with me, and you get all of this for just an initial investment of $497. So all you need to do, by the way, I forgot all about the bonus. Oh my God. There's over a $5,350 bonus. Uh, by investing in the program, the first bonus is a personal coaching call with me for 1 hour. I charge $5,000 an hour when I consult with individuals. So that 1 hour is worth $5,000. Then John Davern has a webinar on how to successfully outsource and manage your first virtual assistant, which has a value of $350. And John will go over that with you once you sign up. And it's the best methods to successfully delegate tasks to a virtual assistant. Here's the link to sign up. Just I'll hold on here for a minute. You can write it down. And you can go there and just review it. And it'll tell you all about what the program's about more extensively than I showed on the PowerPoint. So it's https://buildyourdownlinefast.com. So, hold it. I just want to go back to the other one. The reason I'm adding these two for Build Your Practice Fast and Business Fast is because we had an error in the links, and there might be a few insurance agents that are on this line. You're going to be getting the correct copy, a link to the correct copy of yesterday's webinar that I did for the insurance agents and for business owners for the one I did on Wednesday. Now, many of you have asked me if I could, in the future, create the modules where you don't have to invest in the full program, but you want to invest in the individual modules as they come out. So that's what I've done. I've created the first module as the first ebook in the first ebook format as usual, and it's the module with the ebook with the audio download also, so you can listen to it at any time for $14.95 only. It's just your investment is only $14.95. And in this module, you're going to learn all about foundation of marketing, the core message of being a marketer, the database basics that'll help you thrive in the business industry. Learn how to build your customer database and turn them into clients. The key thing here is I bring you along step by step by step on what you should be doing in communicating with that prospect to bring them along to become a customer. So here's the link for the download for that first module. All right, it's buildyourdownlinefast.com/ebook-series. So write that link down. And again, if you're in the insurance or the business, those are the other two links. And again, my apologies to those of you who accidentally signed up on the wrong link that we had listed. So it's https://buildyourdownlinefast.com/ebook-series. You want to take a look at all that I've listed in there on what this module is all about, and you're going to find that the investment is so well worth your while. If all it does is bring you one customer, you have now paid, and you've returned your investment multiple fold. So you'd be foolish not to invest in this module. Anyway, the third thing I wanted to go over, and I've asked John to do this, is hiring a virtual assistant. Your job should be out there making sales, not doing the mundane jobs that that I'm showing you how to do. So I've asked John to come on in a few minutes to explain to you what a virtual assistant does, how they could help you, and the amount of money you could save by hiring them to do these mundane jobs. But, again, as I mentioned before, you're better off making sales than doing the techniques that I've mentioned in my last few webinars. A VA spending a few hours a day, they can send your connection messages, they can send your meetup welcome messages, they can send your LinkedIn endorsement, birthdays, congrat messages. And by the way, but John and I are deciding with all the changes that have come about in LinkedIn on the how to get more prospects by following up on their birthdays and sending them congratulation messages, and a lot of other things that LinkedIn allows you to communicates with you about. So a VA could do all this here. A VA could set up appointments for you and all. So anyway, I've been using virtual assistant talent for many, many years, and I found them to be very, very useful. The VAs can help you grow your network by helping create and optimize your LinkedIn profile for searchability. They could send your connection messages, as I mentioned before. They could search for and join your LinkedIn groups containing your prospects. They can post interesting articles to your LinkedIn groups and on your status. They can set appointments for you and manage your calendar. They can create and send out your newsletters. They can manage your contacts and email marketing. They can update your website and website content, and they can do their blogs for you, where you can communicate consistently with your prospects. They can manage your social media marketing and campaigns and accounts. But a lot of things they do is they can increase your website traffic and search ranking and more. VAs create prospects for you to present your product and services to. Now I'm going to ask John to come on now and explain a little bit about what it is and how you can benefit by virtual assistant talent. John, please come on.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me on the call as well. I've been working with Ken. Ken's used our virtual assistant services for probably over 4 years, and I used to be a part when Ken was having his coaching program. Learned an awful lot from Ken's coaching program over the years. And first, I wanted to start out explaining what a virtual assistant is, and then I was going to spend some time going over kind of the process flow of what Ken described today in LinkedIn and how that can incorporate into your overall marketing and lead generating campaign. And then I'll cover also how to go through a decision-making process of deciding how to take some of that workload off of you for your business in order to grow it or make things much easier for you. So I started this company, Virtual Assistant Talent, in 2009. I had been working in corporate HR for over 20 years, actually. But while I was in a corporate job, I also wanted to start my own business, and I got introduced to the concept of hiring a virtual assistant. So a virtual assistant is a home-based or remote worker. They work from their home remotely. And my first virtual assistant that I hired was in the Philippines, and I hired a virtual assistant to help find me real estate deals. And what they did was they went on Craigslist and repetitively did Craigslist postings indicating that I was interested in purchasing or buying homes. And that was how I was able to get my first few real estate deals. I also used a virtual assistant. I was in a network marketing business as well. And I had my virtual assistant repetitively post in Craigslist in the business opportunities sections, inviting people to my business opportunity presentation. And those are just a couple examples of how I used a virtual assistant. And eventually that evolved into actually providing virtual assistant services to business owners, entrepreneurs, and so forth on helping them grow their business without having to do everything on their own. So the name of the business is Virtual Assistant Talent. That's our website address. I wanted to emphasize one thing, because this technique that Ken taught you today is a technique that I've been using over the past 4 years. And it's something that's consistently delivered leads for my business. And it's proven the test of time. It's been modified a little bit. We've made some slight tweaks and changes to it, but this is a technique that has consistently delivered for me. And so thank you, Ken, for sharing this technique with me and, everybody else on the call. When you're in your LinkedIn account, one of the things that you want to do is make strategic connection requests. When you're looking at a connection request, you look at somebody's profile, whether they're coming to you or you're going to them. You look at the profile and you decide, is this somebody who can refer business to me? Is this somebody who could be one of my potential customers? Or is this person kind of a key influencer that can connect me to people who can refer business to me, or who can be a potential customer? And you're going to get connection requests that are going to be coming in, and then you're also going to make strategic connection requests, which are outbound. So kind of the two tracks that Ken went over today is, if you're making an outbound request to somebody and they accept that request, you're going to send them the thank you message, which thanks them for accepting you into their network. At the same time, you're also going to be making a number of outbound requests. You're also going to be receiving requests, because as that network grows, people will be able to see that you're a second level or third level connection, and people will be connecting to you. So when you're getting these requests, you should run people through that same filter. Could this person be a good referral partner, someone who can refer business to me? Could they become a potential customer, or are they a key influencer? It could also, for network marketing, obviously also be somebody that could be part of your downline, and is also connected and could be good at recruiting others as well. So for people who are inbound to you, you want to send them the request to join message, which is you're thanking them for asking to join their network. Now, one of the things that made a huge difference for me, because when I initially learned Ken was doing this technique, I followed that process, but my messaging, when somebody connected to me or when I connected to them, whether it was an inbound or outbound request, my messaging to them was lacking. And so I was doing this repetitive process. I was building a huge network, but it was not resulting in converting people into customers or people who were necessarily interested in my business. It was a low response rate. And the thing that made the difference is, when I was part of Ken's coaching program, is I learned what his messaging was. And actually there's an opportunity, he worked with me and helped tweak my message as well. And that made all the difference between just doing an activity that was growing my network, to doing an activity that was growing my network, but was actually converting people into customers, people who were interested in my products and services and actually wanted to purchase that. And if you looked at Ken's messaging, I wanted to cover the components of it, because this is really important. The first thing that you want to have in that messaging is your value proposition, how you're of a benefit to that person, how you benefit them by being part of their network, how your product or service can solve their problems or improve their situation better than the competition. And so it's not a huge sales pitch or going into a ton of detail, but you've got an opportunity here to briefly explain what you do and how you can help them and how you can solve their problems. That's one component you'll notice that is in Ken's. It talks about how he built all these businesses and how he can help grow customers for their business. So you want to have that value proposition in there. The second thing is an offer to help them in some way, whether it's with ideas or asking them about their business and who an ideal referral would be for them. The third component is you're going to invite them to join your LinkedIn group. Now, you may not have a LinkedIn group. If you don't, it's not difficult to create one. You create your own LinkedIn group, and that is opens you up to having more control of your connections in LinkedIn and being able to communicate with them. So I suggest creating a LinkedIn group, and whatever your geographic location is, you call it your geographic location and call it network marketing group or business building group, or it's a group that it's a group where you're going to have the opportunity to share information with them, be recognized as an expert in your industry, and be able to put useful content to them. You'll be able to initiate thought-provoking questions or discussions, and it will help to convert people in your group into potential customers. So again, if you don't have time to create the group, this is something that a virtual assistant can do for you. But that is one of the things you'll notice in Ken's message is he invites them to join his LinkedIn group. The last component is a list building opt-in. So you'll notice in his messaging, there's an opportunity for someone to get his free ebook. You could also, if you don't have an ebook, you could also offer a free consultation or maybe a promo code to your product or services, some sort of incentive that when they click on that, they're going to go into your email marketing program. So the outcome of these is when you share your value proposition, in some cases, people will respond immediately and say that they're interested in your product or services. And in that case, you want to follow up with them either with a LinkedIn message, or send them an email, do a phone call, or just set up an appointment or time to speak with them. And that comes out of that value, the value proposition or an offer to help them. And I'm getting, on average, somewhere between on a monthly basis, somewhere around 25 to 30 to 35 positive inquiries, resulting from my activities of people interested in my product or services on a monthly basis using this technique. If you invite somebody to join your LinkedIn group and they join that group, you want to post useful content, thought-provoking questions. You're going to respond with solutions to those pain points or questions that people have, insert your value proposition, and build that credibility and reputation. And eventually, people will be interested in your products or services, or they may ask for some help, or they may refer someone to you. The last component, the list building opt-in, once people join your list, they go into your email marketing programs such as MailChimp, Constant Contact, or Infusionsoft. And then that opens them up to receive your newsletter. And in your newsletter, you're going to post useful content, articles, blogs, promotions, discounts. You're also going to have your value proposition in there, and you're building your credibility and reputation. And every time that I send out my newsletter, there's new people that are on my list that are interested in my products or services. But this is kind of the process flow in terms of a lead generating activity. Now, as you look at this process flow, you may feel like, well, I don't have a LinkedIn group, or I don't have time to create a LinkedIn group, or I don't have a newsletter to go out to people, and or I don't know how to use an email marketing program, or I don't have time to create content. The beauty of all this, everything that is in this process flow, there is an opportunity to either do it yourself or to have a virtual assistant or home-based worker do that. So these different things that you might learn on our calls that we have in terms of marketing techniques and different things for your business, these are things that you don't have to do on your own, that can be outsourced to a virtual assistant or home-based worker. And in my time since 2009, I've hired and trained hundreds of virtual assistants to do all kinds of different tasks for my own business and also for other business owners who are trying to improve their work-life balance. They're trying to save time. They're trying to grow their business. And I help business owners kind of identify if they took a look at their business, and if you took a look at your own business, you look at what work needs to be done to grow your business, and you look at what work needs to be done to run your business. Kind of those, you look at the first part, which is kind of lead generating and marketing activities, whether it's the initial phases of actually developing a product or service that you're going to offer to people. Putting together a website, ads and graphics, business development, and then the marketing and lead generation activities such as offline marketing or telemarketing activities or online marketing activities such as LinkedIn, social media, Facebook ads, SEO, which is for web traffic, getting people to actually visit your website to purchase your product or services, pay-per-click campaigns, email marketing campaigns, or in generally speaking, sales and sales calls activities. So those are all things that you're doing to grow your business. Then the other piece is kind of more of on the administrative or operational side. So the accounting, administrative, somebody to answer your phones, input information into a database, accounts payable, accounts receivable, bookkeeping, all the profit and loss statements, customer service, who answers your phone when somebody's interested in your products or services, who follows up if there's any issues, HR, someone who's going to manage your workforce or who does recruiting for you, general operations, order fulfillment, project management, managing whether it's a marketing campaign or whatever activities that you're having to manage on your own, possibly having someone do project management for your IT, web administration. So those are kind of the two major groups, and I didn't cover everything in it, but those are kind of generally what I see as things that you're doing to grow your business, and then things that just need to be done to run it and keep it going. And then ask yourself, can this be done remotely? So I live in Silicon Valley here, and I've worked in corporate for many years here, and I can tell you that with all the different collaboration tools that are available now, the world is made much smaller. You're able to connect with people in different corporate offices. It's very easy to do data and document sharing. So in terms of things that can be done remotely, I see more and more people working from home or working from home 1 or 2 days during the week, and very easy for people to collaborate that are working remotely. So you ask yourself, can this particular task that you're having to do right now, can this be done remotely? And if you look at the communication and meeting tools, there's GoToMeeting, there's Skype, there's document sharing, so it makes it very easy for you to share information with someone who's working remotely or home-based worker. It's Google Docs, Dropbox, and there's project management tools such as Trello, Asana, and Smartsheet. So all these good tools that are available that make the world much smaller. So you ask yourself, can this be done remotely? And if not, then you're going to have to do it personally. Or you have to hire an office-based worker, which can be, pretty expensive, especially if you're just starting out in your business. You need to have office space. You have to pay, at least, of course, minimum wage, and there's benefits and different things associated with hiring an office-based worker. Or you simply just don't do that activity. I mean, when I started out my business, there was a ton of things that I was told that I needed to do. Oh, you need to do Facebook ads. Well, I don't have time to create a Facebook campaign, or I don't have the graphics experience to do that. So those are kind of the choices that you make. And then if it can be done remotely, which I'll tell you in many cases, a lot of these different activities can be done remotely, then do you have work instructions for this particular job or task? Because if, different things that you're trying to do on your own, if you want to have somebody else do it, you've got to teach them or train them to do that. And so if you don't have the work instructions, then either you make a decision, well, I'm just going to keep doing this task, or it might be a marketing activity that you wish you were doing, but you don't do it. For example, if it's trying to get organic traffic to your website, if you're not an SEO specialist, you're not going to know everything that needs to be done to do that, and maybe you just don't do it. Or I'll give you an example. For many years, I was doing the bookkeeping for my business, and I would spend, on an annual basis for all the activities that I had to prepare for tax preparation, probably 40 to 60 work hours every year preparing bookkeeping, throughout the year, and everything related to tax preparation before I get things over to my CPA. Finally, this past year, I spent 2 hours and I trained somebody to do it. I never sat down and took 2 hours to train somebody, but I finally did that this year. And boy, do you know how much time that had saved me, just because I stopped and I held a go-to meeting with a virtual assistant and showed them, here's my bookkeeping process. I sent them to a training course, and now they're doing the bookkeeping for me. So all that time has saved me, in doing that. So if you don't have instructions for a work task, create the work instructions, or just show them hands-on. You can do a video or write a written procedure. And I tell you, it's amazing if you can have a virtual assistant do some of these activities that you've been spending a lot of time. It can help save you time. It can help save you money. And when I say save you money, I'll give you an example. As I said, I work here in Silicon Valley. At one of the corporate jobs that I had, we were paying $100 an hour for a web designer to make changes to a website. If you compare that to having a virtual assistant in the Philippines, my company charges just over $11 for somebody to design a website or make changes or updates to a website. So you can save a ton of money by hiring a virtual assistant. It also gives you the opportunity to scale or grow your business by doing activities that you yourself wouldn't either have time to do or wouldn't have the expertise to do, and then gives you the ability to increase the overall capacity for your business, either on a short-term basis or long-term basis. So this is kind of the decision-making process that I follow and that I help clients with when they're just deciding that they need to grow their business or they need to save time or save money. This whole LinkedIn task that we showed you today, this is something that a virtual assistant can do for you. A virtual assistant can help you with the initial phases of setting up your LinkedIn account, making sure that your profile is optimized for people who are searching for your product or service. It's just kind of like Google. When people search on Google, they put their search terms in for whatever they're searching for, and somebody comes up. Or a business comes up. It's the same thing with LinkedIn. You want to have a good, robust profile that clearly articulates what your business offering is and what your area of expertise is. So a virtual assistant can help set up your LinkedIn account. They can create your LinkedIn profile, and then they can do this activity of sending connection messages to people, strategic connection messages that are going to be either referral partners, somebody who's interested in joining your business, maybe to join as part of your downline, or somebody who's interested in promoting your or purchasing your products or services. So this is what I have my virtual assistant doing. A lot of our clients or customers have had people do this activity as well. So sending out and connecting, making strategic connections, and then joining LinkedIn groups. So there's a ton of different LinkedIn groups out there. And those LinkedIn groups, you join those groups strategically for people who are, again, going to be referral partners or possibly interested in your products or services or joining your downline. And virtual assistant can join those groups, can monitor those groups, and there's a limit on the number of groups that you can join, and so the virtual assistant can monitor those groups and make sure that people are active and engaged in those groups. And then as you send out the connection messages, just kind of as I showed in the flow chart here, a certain percentage of those people that you connect with, eventually you're going to convert to customers. Now, one thing that I also suggest you have a virtual assistant do is, if you don't have time to go into your LinkedIn account and monitor the responses, that's something a VA can look in there and look for positive responses and tell you, hey, so-and-so is interested in your product or service, and then you can either follow up with that person, or you may even delegate a sales or recruitment function to a virtual assistant to follow up with that person. So the whole idea behind this is, in hiring a virtual assistant or home-based worker, is to provide more time for you to have a better work-life balance, more time with your family, healthier lifestyle, less stress, reduce your costs, increase your revenue, and really just transform your life and business. And it's amazing, you know, the price point and the level of talent that you can get with a virtual assistant based in the Philippines. You know, some people say, why Philippines? Philippines, they're taught their classes in English and throughout school, so they're fluent in English. Home-based workers, many of the home-based workers have been in the corporate world, have held high-level managerial jobs, have a college degree, and this is the price point that you're able to get that type of talent by hiring home-based workers out of the Philippines. So for non-technical tasks, admin assistant, social media, writing your blogs, doing research, starting at $8.20 per hour is the price point that we offer this service at. Technical VAs, so somebody to do web design, maintenance, graphics, IT or programming, $11.20 per hour. So if you're interested in learning more about the virtual assistant services or hiring a VA, a virtual assistant, our website's virtualassistanttalent.com. There's a promotion where you can get $50 off our prepaid hourly plans. Basically, you decide what tasks that you would like to outsource or have a virtual assistant do. There's no contracts or specific time commitments. You prepay for a certain amount of hours, and as the VA works those hours, it gets deducted from your prepaid balance. All the VAs that we've had, I've hired hundreds and trained hundreds of virtual assistants over the years, and so we kind of know which ones are doing well and not doing well. If they don't do well for our clients, we don't keep them on board. We also monitor their work by doing screen captures of when they're working, so we can ensure that when people are working remotely, that they're actually doing the work. So again, it's something that has made a huge difference for me and my business. I outsource all my different activities, in terms of operational activities and lead generation activities, to virtual assistants. So next up, we'd like to open it up for any type of questions.
Before we open it up for questions, I just want to mention one thing. As I think I mentioned it earlier, but at 76, sometimes I forget what I said. I always, every month, look at my return on investment. And last month, I had a 327% return on my investment in VA talent. So I just want to mention that to the group.
Wow, that's a great to hear, Ken. And it's amazing, how much a virtual assistant can really change your life and help you scale your business. I also want to thank you as well, Ken. Your program, your technique that you showed, today, this is something that I've been using for the last 4 years that consistently delivers. And again, by following that model of the message that you were sending out, That made the difference between having a successful LinkedIn marketing campaign and not. It actually made the difference. So appreciate that. So now we're going to open it up for some questions. We got a few minutes left on the call. There's a couple ways that you can ask questions by typing it into the question panel, or if you want, you can raise your hand and we can take you off mute. So are there on-site, this is from Brad, are there on-site online sites or tools that would enable a VA to create and send mailers to me? Brad, in terms of mailers, you're talking about physical mailers. If you're talking about physical mailers, I actually at one point had a VA send mailers, create the mailers for me in the Philippines, and then send like 1,000 of those mailers overseas back to me here, and then I sent them out through here, the postal service here. That is one particular option. Or they could do the footwork. There's services here that actually will send out mailers for you, and if you don't have the time to do that, you can train the VA to work with a mailers company and just explain to them the process, and then they could be the contact person for that. If it's electronic mailers or using email programs like MailChimp or Constant Contact or Infusion, they can also do that, as well. I hope that answers your question, Brad. If it doesn't, just shoot me a message, and then we can kind of discuss that, as well offline. But appreciate that question. But I've used it for physical, mailers. I actually had them work with a printing company and send the mailers over to me. Okay, so next question. Let's see here. Okay, good. Thanks, Richard. We were able to get the sound. Okay. All right. Yeah. That sounds good, Richard. So I've got your contact information. We can set up a time to talk to you. Okay. Have you had any problems with hacking? How do you give out your passwords to the virtual assistant? So this is from April. I have not had, in terms of, you have to kind of decide in terms of over time how much you trust a person. And, at first you can start out with small things, but then eventually as trust is built over time, you get to know that person, and you can decide, in terms of what you're comfortable giving your virtual assistant access to. So I've never had any incidents where a virtual assistant hacked into or into one of my accounts that they weren't supposed to, or did something, to that effect. I have virtual assistants manage my social media accounts, and if the virtual assistant quits, I change all my passwords. So as I switch VAs from one virtual assistant to another, I always make sure to change the passwords, just as if they were a regular employee, working in the office. But again, trust is built over time. I wouldn't give a virtual assistant who had not worked with me for very long the password to my PayPal account. That would be something done, over time. But again, yes, I do give my passwords out to them. You just have to determine what your limit is and what you're comfortable with. There also are programs that you can use that, like Hootsuite, that you can set up that account, give them access to Hootsuite, which connects them to the social media accounts, but then they don't actually have your social media passwords. They only have the password to your Hootsuite. So Andrew says, let's see, if the VA doesn't do job, how does the employer get a new VA? So for example, with my company, if the virtual assistant is not performing, you just let us know, and we can easily replace the VA. We can also make sure if you've spent a lot of time with the VA training them, that they participate and help with the training of the other VA. But we have a, you can always replace that VA if they're not performing. You would just need to let us know. So thanks for that question. Is there a way to try a virtual assistant for a month or two just to understand how it works? That's Daniela. Yes. In terms of how our program works, you just decide, based on your budget, you prepay for a certain number of hours, and those hours that you prepay for, there's no contract that you have to sign where it's 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. If you don't use all the hours, we simply just refund those hours to you. So there's no, specific commitment where you have to commit for a certain length of time. So you could try out a VA for a month or two, see if they're working for you. And if not, then you can get a refund on the balance. So there's no, specific commitment to it. Some activities that you do, like for example, if it's search engine optimization, there's certain things that take some time. So as an example, I have a virtual assistant do search engine optimization for my website, and the results, they told me up front that before you see results, it's going to take 2 to 3 months before you see that organic traffic spike. But was one of the best decisions that I have made was having a virtual assistant work on getting organic traffic to my site, because it's made a huge difference. Huge improvement in the amount of organic traffic that I'm getting, but it did take a few months for that to kick in. So there are 4 of us in my firm. Each of us could use the program and VA services. Can we hire a VA to support all 4 of us? Yeah, so that's George. That is a good idea because depending on the amount of work, yeah, you could pull from the same virtual assistant, and in many cases it's going to be a benefit to the VA, because a lot of the virtual assistants are looking for a certain number of hours a week or even full-time work. So if one person doesn't have enough work to send them, this can be a win-win situation. So yeah, you can hire one VA to support all of you. George, if you just go to virtualassistanttalent.com and call the phone number on there, Karen is the ops manager. She can help you, with that, or shoot me a message and I can have her follow up with you. But yeah, you said you basically serve the same business owner prospect base. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They'll learn your business and be able to help you. Will the slides be available later? That's from Jerry. Yes, so we're going to send out on Tuesday for everybody who's on the webinar, the webinar recording. So, okay, now let's see if anybody has any other questions. Okay, so Richard, Richard, I don't know if we answered your question from before. Let's see, Richard, I'm gonna just unmute you real quick here, Richard, but this might have been from earlier. Richard, everything all good now, or did you have another question? Okay. All right. So let's see here. Okay. No, I think we're good. Okay, so
John, I'd like to thank everybody for spending the time, and I know that we've helped them out, so I got to compliment them on staying on the line and learning all about all this.
All right. Good. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks again so much as well, everybody who's on the call. A lot of good questions here, and I'm certainly available if you have any questions. Just shoot me an email, or you can always go to my website, virtualassistanttalent.com. If you call the number there, I get copied on messages that go. So if you have any follow-ups that are needed, feel free to reach out. And thanks again, Ken, for having me on the call as well. And
Sounds
yeah,
good.
all
Everybody
right.
keep well and have a great night.